is he 10-0? Jimmy G got hurt back in week 6, week 7? Nah. It's like five games. Am I right, guys? 5 games?
I'm really blank right now. I don't know where I got the 10-0 from.
No, hell. Yeah.
Here's where I got the 10-0 from. From looking at, you know what? The 49ers on a 10-game win streak. That's what I did.
Oh, okay. I did the math wrong. They won like 9-10 in a row. Yes.
You know what it is? They are on a streak. They lost the first one with McCaffrey, and since then have gone 10-0. Yeah. That was where I had the 10-0 in my head. My fault. My apologies.
So he's been around 4 or 5 weeks. He's doing what he's supposed to do to a team that's getting. And also, as I mentioned before, they're getting guys back. They have some injuries. Getting guys back, it helps. I'm not knocking Brock Purdy at all. But to just emphatically, this is the best quarterback game. If you want to hang that on a wild card game when you're 10-point favorites at home against a team that really backed into the playoffs, they had to sit and watch. By the way, kudos to you for taking the Lions last week. I took the Packers. You took the Lions. Smart move. I mean, the Lions had to pull off what they pulled off for them to even be in this game. And I don't think it's a feather in the cap of, oh, wow, this is the greatest quarterback performance we've seen in the playoffs in the Kyle Shanahan era.
It is.
Okay.
Like it is.
Okay.
Objectively.
Okay.
It is.
So Jimmy G's performance, like the year they went to the Super Bowl, those weren't good playoff performances that got him to the Super Bowl?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
No. Where was that right now? Can I interest you in 11 for 19, 131, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, taking 2 sacks?
Okay.
Like, no, that's a bad game. That's a backup number. Or you want the next game where they scored 37 points, but he was 6 for 8 for 77 yards.
Well, was that Jeff Wilson's game?
No, but I'm saying
I'm just asking, was that Jeff Wilson's game?
But that's okay. So that's not the
just
quarterback
answer the
performance.
question.
Though. Yeah, Jeff Wilson went nuts.
So in the Jeff Wilson game, why would you throw when your running back's running for 240 something yards? Why would you throw the ball? That makes no sense, Martin. That makes no sense in football to even bring that one up. Go to another one. Like anybody knows that in football. If my running back is running for 2 and some change,
I'll put it like this.
Why am I throwing it?
I'll put it like this. In Jimmy Garoppolo's career, anytime he's attempted more than 25 passes in a playoff game, he's lost it.
I swear, man, you already know how I get down. You better hope and pray.
Anytime he's attempted more.
You better hope and pray.
Anytime he's attempted more.
You better hope and pray. Purdy is the guy that you guys think he is. And they better go win this whole. He has one bad playoff game. I'm telling y'all right now.
The game is over, but we're just getting started.
So this is the thanks I get for working overtime.
Overtime! Welcome to Overtime with Kyle Madsen and Alan Stiles on 95.7 The Game.
later.
Plenty of elite receivers in the playoffs still.
Of course. So you see what Brock Purdy did and how there might have been some early jitters, but it wasn't just Brock Purdy.
Right.
It was the whole team. Mm-hmm. You know, you have obviously the Jimmy Ward thing, but then you have the defense in general. I know Seattle's good at running the football. That has been their calling card. But I think they got into the room at halftime and they said, look, guys, this ain't it. This is exactly when Nick Bosa was talking about what we had to do against this team in order to get this W. That was the opposite when they got to halftime. They did not want the Seahawks to have hope.
Yeah.
They wanted to go out, punch him in the mouth. I think somebody said they're going to try to punch us in the mouth. We're going to punch right back. It was either Kittle or Bosa who said that as well. And they did the opposite. They allowed Seattle to hang around. They made a couple of timely mistakes. And next thing you know, you look up and the Seahawks, who had no business leading that game, are leading that game. They got in the locker room. They got together. They said, guys, enough is enough. All right, let's turn it up a notch. Let's lean forward. You're playing the PS4, PS5. Let's lean forward and let's pay attention and let's play the way we know we can play. And that's exactly what they did. But again, first game, starting it off, everybody thinks it's all Brock. And Brock did not look good early, but everybody kind of had to round into form. Now, luckily, you got to round into form against a team, and this is all positive, don't get me wrong, but against a team.
You're being so negative, Alan.
I'm not at all. They got to do it against a team that limped into the playoffs, right? So
Seattle had won 3 of their last 8 games, beat Baker Mayfield and John Wolford and Mike White. It wasn't like they were playing the Lions.
Yeah, exactly.
The only reason Seattle was here was because Green Bay couldn't get the job done at home.
Mm-hmm.
But that being said, it's not like Seattle's a bad team. They're just an average team.
They're just an average team. And look, we talk about Vegas all the time. A lot of people get into betting more and more because those lines, it was 9.5. They represent, Vegas is using stats and things like that to figure out these lines. So they're not just random. They're also
out there.
They're using, what the stats and everything that we've seen from these teams in order to make these lines. So everybody thought that this should be a blowout. We got to the blowout. Probably not how we thought we'd get there, but we got to it. And we can talk about the Charles Omenihu fumble. And people will say, well, if there was no fumble, what would have happened?
It's a different game.
But you know what? There was a fumble because of this defense. So why would we talk about if there wasn't a fumble? Because there was. And there was because that's what this defense does. 888-957-9570. Call line and the Xfinity mobile text line. Let us know if you were watching it at home. Give us a call. If you were watching it at the game and you're on your way back and you're stuck in traffic, be safe on those wet roads, by the way, but give us a call. We want to know how you're feeling. We want to know how the vibes were. We want to know your expectations. How did you feel about Brock Purdy coming out 18 for 30, 332 yards? 3 touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown. Family was in the building. He got it going. Debo in the backfield. Christian McCaffrey, 119 yards.
I'm getting tingles, man.
119 yards. Christian McCaffrey. I've tweeted about 5 different times, Sterling. ESPN saying it was a C- that trade.
Can you
imagine? C-. That's the best C- I've ever seen for a GPA. I don't know what that means. But 888-957, a 2.5, whatever it is. 888-957-9570. How are you feeling? Do you think this team has a chance to get it done? Are you feeling more positive? Are you feeling somehow less positive? More optimistic? More pessimistic? How are you feeling? Sterling, besides the fumble,
right?
What did you think, I guess, in the first half? What did you see that worried you? And what would you put into the category of not butterflies? Is there anything?
Well, I think coming into this game, there was always a concern of, okay, we've seen defenses recently, especially the Raiders, take Lenore apart. Not afraid to target him. And really in this game, I was surprised because it was the opposite. They targeted Mooney Ward like it was nothing. Like Mooney Ward came into this game, and I thought, okay, he has locked down DK Metcalf plenty of times. 7 targets, 5 catches, 38 total yards in the past 2 times they've played. He has been house money against DK. But DK Metcalf got a haircut. He was no more colored hair. He was, I'm your daddy.
Yeah.
And Mooney Ward did not look like the top corner we've seen. Now, I love him. Next week, he'll probably be back. But in this game against a physical, dominating presence like Metcalf, I mean, he looked like Lenore. Usually looks like.
Right. Well, and they say styles make fights, and maybe that was a bit of this situation.
All about matchups.
So, but it does make you think. All these receivers are quite different. Earlier, we alluded to another team with a similar receiver. That would be A.J. Brown. Right. To me, okay, now you're thinking, okay, now the A.J. Browns of the world, the Justin Jeffersons of the world, even though you already knew that they were going to be a problem, you saw it happen. You saw it happen, and you saw it happen against not Lenore, against your guy,
Right.
Mooney Ward. So that is something that I think you would put in the category of, I don't think that's butterflies. I think you're getting beat. That's the segment right now. Butterflies or beat. So Brock Purdy early, butterflies. Mooney Ward,
beat.
Beat. But really, that's one of the main things that I saw in the first half that I don't really know about this. But everything else, I mean, you talk about the misses from Brock Purdy. I mean, he was sailing early. I think it was raining. And again, 888-957-9570. We were trying to tell if it was raining, how bad it was raining, trying to figure that whole situation out.
If you're at the game, call and tell us what's happening.
Exactly, because it looked like he was sailing early. Then it looked like it dried up a little bit. Here we go. First caller of the evening. And I said earlier, Serling, and you replied to my tweet, if the Niners won, we're going to come with the energy. It's going to be one of the most lit post-game shows you've ever been a part of.
Fire.
Then next thing you know is halftime.
And it's like, oh, God, I'm scared. I'm nervous.
Next thing you know is halftime, and I'm thinking, it might be lit in the wrong way, a negative
yelling
lit.
and screaming of, how could this happen?
And then you talk about flipping the switch, and that's exactly what the Niners do. Let's go to David in Brentwood, who wants to talk about the Purdy. Oh, what? David, the Purdy pass to Ayuk. I know it was nasty. What do you got for us, David? You're on with Allen and Sterling. It's overtime.
I'm just leaving Levi's right now, man. I'm going to start off by saying it was kind of wet in the first quarter. We got some rain, but after the first quarter, the football gods shined on us. The rain was pretty much done besides some light drizzle for the rest of the game. But on that pass to Ayuk, Purdy looked like Russell, like vintage Russell, man.
Yeah.
That was scrambling, keeping the play going. Found him in the corner of the end zone. It probably should have been a catch, but you got to love the guy's heart, just how he keeps plays alive. He keeps fighting. Even after he makes a mistake, comes back the next play and he does something impressive.
That's a great call, David. I hope you had a good time. You go to a playoff game, you hope to see a W, especially if you're out there in the rain. So David says it was wet early. That's what
my
we
biggest
thought.
fear, is paying for a playoff game and then losing.
I'll tell you what, I got a story about the Warriors. We'll talk about that on a different day because right now it's all Niners. So what David talks about, that pass to Ayuk, that's one of those things where not the play of the game, but the highlight of the game was a highlight that never was.
Exactly.
Right? When somebody makes a half-court shot, but it doesn't count, something like that. Because he was running all over the place. It reminded me, obviously not the speed aspect, but it reminded me of that crazy Kyler Murray play against the Raiders earlier this season where he ran like 70 yards parallel to each other, side to side.
It's the Marion Barber quarterback.
Exactly. So Purdy is doing things, and I've used the word slippery. I've said he's a moonwalker. He just finds a way to avoid being tackled. He gets away from the pass rush multiple times. And I'll tell you what, we can give Kyle Shanahan all the kudos we want because we know he's a heck of a play caller. He's an offensive genius, offensive guru, all these things. You can't scheme that.
Right.
Just like you can't teach 6'5" or you can't teach a vertical leap. You can't teach what Brock Purdy does. So we can give Kyle Shanahan his flowers offensively, but Brock Purdy is taking that thing to another level. He's doing things that we haven't seen Jimmy Garoppolo do. That's just what it is. That's not a slight. We got all summer to talk about that type of stuff. But that's just, it's the truth, is what it is.
Right.
Because he's coming out, he's avoiding tackles, he's extending plays, he's making this offense even better. He is doing exactly what the game manager aspect of these QBs have done, but he's taking it to another level. And when you do things like that, that makes it even harder for the defense because now you have to account for it. We talked about something a little earlier about how he defaults to roll to his left. That is what he does.
It's true.
So you see that happen, and as we're talking about it, that play to Ayuk, he does it again, but even when he does it, he gets out of trouble. You know what I mean? And he's able to find somebody. So what he's been able to do and how he's kind of taking this team to another level, it doesn't really matter about arm strength. It doesn't really matter about, okay, can he hit this throw? Can he hit that? What he's doing with his feet, I think, might be the most important piece of this because he's extending everything. He's giving everybody more time. And you already have ridiculous weapons. We were joking with Kyle Shanahan and the Thanos Infinity Stones. Now you're giving these guys more time. You're telling me not only do you have to worry about guarding Debo, McCaffrey, Kittle, Ayuk, who's a technician, by the way. I'm going to keep saying it. Not only do you have to worry about that, you have to worry about guarding him for a longer period of time because your guys can't get to Purdy.
To stay on the Thanos metaphor here, is Brock Purdy the time stone? Does he give Kyle Shanahan the ability to go back in time, give him more time to, okay, how can I scheme plays open? Like Ayuk and Debo and Kittle and McCaffrey and Mitchell, whoever you want to name, when Jimmy was quarterback, and again, it's no knock, it's just the truth, it felt like that window was 3 to 5 seconds for that play to happen.
Yes.
And Purdy, there may be 10 seconds, 15 seconds, because he's going left on one hash mark to the other, and he's somehow still finding not just like 2 yards, chunk plays, touchdown plays. Like that, it's stuff like that that separates average from good, good from great, and great to elite. And Brock Purdy's doing things, and maybe it's because we haven't seen it in so long in San Francisco. He's doing things that you have seen from Russell Wilson, from Mahomes, from Allen, albeit maybe not as much, but you are seeing elite traits in a quarterback you took in the 7th round. Like, that cannot be escaped. He's a 7th round Mr. Irrelevant, doing things the quote-unquote elite quarterbacks do.
Exactly. And when we all say mobility, the first thing you think, probably, the first thing I think, Lamar Jackson running, Kyler Murray. But mobility doesn't necessarily mean that. Mobility can also mean mobility in the pocket.
Yeah.
When I think of Drew Brees and guys like that, and the fact that earlier this season, when we were worried about the offensive line, it's musical chairs, we were also worried about, at the time we thought it was Trey Lance, but Jimmy's a bit more stationary, things like that. This is the game changer. This is the game breaker. You talk about game breakers on defense, Nick Bosa, guys like that. Being able to avoid the pass rush, giving your guys time, it opens up everything. And when you have that with a guy like Kyle Shanahan, it just makes it really hard for defenses to beat that. That's it. That's it. 510's chiming in. It isn't mobility, it's elusiveness. We are using all the words, 510.
It's maneuverability.
Well, I'll tell you what about mobility, by the way. I had to check this because Brock, he can move a little bit.
Right.
He ran a 4.84 in the 40.
Isn't that the same as Mahomes?
It's not slow.
I'm pretty sure it's the exact
right. I mean,
same
they're
as
all
Mahomes.
they're all in that high 4 range.
Right.
So Brock Purdy is not slow. So he can actually, he's not going to outrun linebackers and guys like that most of the time.
He's not Lamar Jackson.
He's not Lamar Jackson, but he has both versions of mobility. Because Drew Brees, I'd love to look up. Actually, Drew Brees was a shady good athlete back in the day. Again, different conversation for a different day.
Boilermaker.
What Brock Purdy adds to this offense is a sense of comfort because everything. You're going to have options. He adds options. The other QBs, just Jimmy's really the main one that we've seen because we barely saw Trey Lance. There weren't many options. You got Brock out there going through his progressions, like you said, as if he's a vet. He's doing that. He is not shaken, not rattled. Okay, what was he rattled for a quarter and a half? Maybe 2? We can say 2, and that's it?
And even then, they should have been up by, 3?
Yeah.
2? Like, they had the lead, and it was not his fault they didn't keep it. That was a Shanahan and Jimmy Ward thing.
Right.
But the 415 says he's like Joe Montana. He can avoid the rush. He can scramble and make plays. We haven't had a quarterback like this since Joe Montana. But Cam texts me this stat here and says Brock Purdy's 332 passing yards are the most for a Niners quarterback in the postseason since Joe Montana's 357 against the Bengals in the Super Bowl.
Wow.
Like, people compare, Jimmy was the next Joe Montana. He has the most wins compared to Steve Young and Montana, all this stuff. Could Brock Purdy, play style-wise, be the closest thing to Joe Montana we've seen? He's not the fastest guy.
Right. And being the closest thing to Joe Montana doesn't even mean he's close to Joe Montana.
And Joe Montana now is probably outdated in the NFL.
Yeah.
But it's the smooth silkiness Brock Purdy plays with.
Yeah.
There is no fear. Everything is it's just smooth. Like, there is no fear in the pocket. He's elusive. He's using his eyes, his feet, his legs. It seems like every movement he makes is so important to him and the play.
Right.
Whereas Jimmy, again, no offense, it was like, it's just his eyes. It may be a pump fake here or there, but Purdy's doing everything. He has the entire, arsenal on him.
Right. And that's the thing that I want to kind of shut down right now because this is less about slights on Jimmy and more about just propping up what Brock Purdy is doing. Because it's not as if we're comparing it to Jimmy because that was the last QB. But in reality, Brock Purdy is doing things. Kirk Cousins is not doing this.
Right.
Daniel
Jones ain't doing this stuff.
Daniel Jones is not doing this. You can name off multiple starting QBs in the league right now that is not getting down like Brock Purdy is getting down. Yeah. And I said it before and I'll say it again, Sterling. Yes, he was Mr. Irrelevant because you know why? When you go to the combine, they measure how strong you are.
How tall you are.
How tall you are. How fast you can run. How strong your arm is. You know what they don't measure? They don't measure that dog, Sterling.
The heart.
They don't measure that dog. And Brock Purdy's got that dog in him. He's got that dog in him so much to go 18 for 30 in his playoff debut for 332 yards. 3 touchdowns, 1 rushing. Christian McCaffrey, of course, he showed up, 119 yards. Debo even showed up in the backfield. You had everybody getting into the party.
What was the Purdy? But
the Purdy party. All right. Well, all right. Well, now we got to do that. 888-957-9570 if you want to be a part of the conversation. 510 chiming in. Purdy had the same 3 cone time as Christian McCaffrey. Definitely shifty in the pocket. You know, it's something that you think, okay, this could help. Maybe it doesn't help on certain other teams. But again, he's on the Niners, so that's all that matters. I don't care about if he went to the Texans. I don't care about any other team he could play for. He plays for the Niners, and sometimes things just fit. I don't care that the game was close. They were winning by 6. I don't care that the game could have been different because of Menuhu if he didn't cause a fumble. Because he did.
Yeah.
And Nick Bosa recovered it. Because that's what they do. That's what they've been doing all season long. So to sit there and have a conversation about, well, what if this didn't happen? Of course it would be different, but we don't have to live in that world because they did, and that's what they do. I think now the conversation is when you're looking forward to Super Bowl aspirations and things like that, that is where, as a fan, it gets a little, I guess, dicey because you want to enjoy this, right? You want to say, who cares?
There's a game next weekend.
Who cares? We won. We dropped 41 on our rivals, and they had 23. Really, I wish they didn't even get to 23 because they didn't deserve it. That was a pity touchdown. So I wish they didn't even get it.
They dropped 41 against Seattle.
41 against Seattle. This is a playoff team.
Yeah.
So I don't want to hear about any of the ifs or that's, but what I do want to talk about, because we have to talk about it, because if you do have Super Bowl aspirations, we do have to say, well, look, Seattle limped into the playoffs, right? And in the old setup, they wouldn't have even made the playoffs.
Right.
So you can enjoy this as now I sound like the athlete. We're going to enjoy this one tonight, but tomorrow we're getting right back to work. Well, tomorrow for us is actually the second half of the show because that's what we have to get into. The things that the Niners did well, the things that the Niners didn't do well, again, butterflies or beat. That's what we're talking about. Was it butterflies because they had the first game of the playoff slate and it was some guys' first game's a little bit going on, or did they just get beat in certain aspects? And could you be worried about certain things? Because when you do look forward, and all these guys have to play, that's the thing. You talk about other sports and setting serve or whatever in tennis, whatever it's called. The Niners they set the table. All right, we went out. You guys want to have us first? Look what we just did. And if whoever goes up, I know the Eagles don't play this week, but the Vikings, if they limp through this, because they're in a close game every day of the week, it seems. If any of these other NFC teams, whether it's the Bucks, Cowboys, Vikings, they all got put on notice. We're the Niners. This is what we just did. And it was raining, and people had some things to say. Obviously, we were high favorites. Yeah. Oh, the line was 9.5. I'll do you one better. We'll drop 41-23.
If I would have told you San Francisco would have scored the most points they have all year to cap off their 11th straight victory in round 1 of the playoffs against Seattle, against Pete Carroll and that defense that has given this team so much trouble, I would have said, oh, okay. Like, yeah, right. They're not going to put up 41. I saw 28-17. That's the final score.
Yeah.
It's a rainy day in Santa Clara. Who knows? They put up 41 points.
Yeah.
Like, to me, that says you want to talk about can they go toe-to-toe with the Chiefs and the Bengals and the Bills and Philadelphia? Yeah, they can.
They can.
And they proved it today.
Right.
In the playoffs of all places.
Exactly. So you got the butterflies out if you're Brock Purdy, and now you move forward. We got to get to a break. When we get back, more of your texts, more of your calls, and it is time to have that conversation. What things did you see from this Niner team were you really happy about? What things did you think, that one might be a problem deeper in the playoffs? It's Alan Stiles, it's Sterling Bennett. It's overtime. 95.7 The Game.
I bet you folks are glad to be done with your shopping. Hopefully, all your gifts went well. But there's one last store to visit, this time just for yourself. Your chance to get one of the top-rated Samsung, LG, or Sony TVs at a crazy low price. Where? At Video Only's year-end clearance sale. A great way to end the year. If you don't check out these deals at Video Only, you'll be sorry.
Hey Niner fans, George Kittle here with a pro tip for making the best play on your eyewear. Visit Zenni.com, the official eyewear of the 49ers. Zenni has changed the game for you, finally making prescription glasses affordable for everyone. At Zinni, you can find over 3,000 frames with unbelievable prices. Look for the Kittles collection so you can rock our styles every day too. So visit ZENNI.com, start shopping from home using their virtual try-on, and change your eyewear game forever.
Did you know that over 90% of male enhancement pills are virtually the same thing that's repackaged, redone over and over again? Why settle for the same old product when you can get something completely different? Something that takes male enhancement into the 21st century. Something that really works. Men, you need to try Noxitril, the all-natural male enhancement formula that will unlock your performance in the bedroom to a level you could only dream of. Try to imagine Viagra on steroids. Noxitril is so powerful, that's why it took years for it to finally become available to the public without a prescription. So call now and take advantage of our special Noxitril free bottle offer today. Oh yeah, we recommend that you use the Noxitril dose as directed. Think of your partner. We certainly don't want you to overperform in the bedroom.
Find out how to get a free bottle of Noxitril while supplies last. Call 800-233-1382, 800-233-1382. Free bottles for a limited time. Call now, 800-233-1382, 800-233-1382.
Are you kidding me? Gas prices are up again? Somebody has to do something.
Well, someone did. That's why I use Upside.
Upside? What's that?
It's a free app that pays you back real money for every gallon of gas or diesel you buy. I just earned 25 cents back on every gallon of this tank.
Hold on. So the Upside app is free and you actually get cash back every time you use it? No strings attached?
Yep, it's awesome. Check it out. It only takes a couple of minutes to sign up.
Instead of just watching your dollars go into your tank, start putting money back into your wallet with the free app from Upside. With the price of gas today, it's big news and big money. To cash out of your Upside cash, just transfer it to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card. Upside users have already earned over $200 million. Now it's your turn. Download the free Upside app and get cash back on every gallon of gas. Use promo code GOLF for an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first fill-up. That's code GOLF. Use code GOLF for an extra 25 cents per gallon back in your first fill-up. Cashback's not available in gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-700-6898. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-700-6898. That's 800-700-6898 for $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898.
Get up to $26,000 of ERC money for every employee you had in 2020 and 21 that qualifies. You qualify if you satisfy either one of these 2 tests. The easy way, your gross revenue drops a certain amount. The complex way, a full or partial closure of your business, a facts and circumstances test. You could only use the inside of your business up to 25% of capacity. Even an essential business like a food store at a 75% partial closure. Or supply chain disruptions. Or limits on the number of people you could have in an area. Or many other possible factors. Beware of companies that only consider the easy way and avoid the complex way. And also companies that fraudulently say everybody qualifies, especially companies that only just recently came into existence and then can disappear. We've been practicing tax law for over 30 years. Call Moskowitz LLP at 888-TAX-DEAL. That's 888-TAXDEAL. 888-TAX-DEAL or MoskowitzLLP.com. MOSKOWITZ-LLP.com.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM at HD1 San Francisco. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
49ers back on offense. Here comes Christian McCaffrey, a gaping hole. McCaffrey gallops free into Seahawks territory. Cuts it back inside the 20. Key block from Trent Williams springs him for a 66-yard run.
Now, back to Overtime with Kyle Madsen and Alan Stiles on 95.7 The Game.
We are back. Overtime. Alan Stiles, Sterling Bennett in for Kyle Madsen. on this fine Saturday evening. And you know why it's fine, Sterling? Because the Niners got it done. 41-23. They beat their rivals, the Seattle Seahawks. They thumped them. It was close early. The Niners were losing at halftime.
It was a little scary there for a minute.
It was scary. And the Niners said, you know what? I'm not messing around anymore. This was cute. They said they didn't want to give the Seahawks hope. That's what they did. It took them a little bit longer to kind of get rolling. And they did really even before the fumble, they come down and they do what they need to do. And we talk about that play with Debo and Jonathan Abrams. And Jonathan Abrams, who released from the Raiders, the Seahawks pick him up. That's what he does.
Maybe he can call Derek Carr.
He does a little stupid things like that. Right. And there were no flags thrown on that call.
Debo was not happy.
It cut away for a second when you're watching. Yeah. Then it comes back and you see that everybody. I think Shanahan was in there too.
He's in there cursing at the refs like, what is this? And
exactly.
All that stuff.
And Shanahan was talking to the players too.
Yeah.
Because there's a code. Right? They talk about brotherhood, all this stuff. There's a code. You don't do stuff like that. And everybody said that was not cool for Jonathan Abrams to go in and try to twist whatever Debo was trying to do. But that's the type of stuff that he does. If you're a Raider fan, you know
2 weeks ago. Like, he's just come back from
injury.
You
just don't do that. But when that happened, even though there were no flags thrown, you didn't actually get any yards from it. But we sat there right here in the green room while we're watching the game, and we said, that might be what the Niners needed.
Yeah.
That might have been the wake-up call. Hey, these guys are starting to get a little frisky here. They're starting to think that they have a chance. Let's go ahead and crush that right now. And that's exactly what they did.
Well, and the reason they needed that wake-up call was because of what San Francisco did not do.
Right.
The squib kick, the Jimmy Ward, San Francisco allowed them to have momentum.
Right.
And they did nothing to stop it. Then they realized, okay, this game is not going to go our way.
Yeah.
We're not getting calls. The offense is okay, it's not what it has been in the past. The defense looks a little worn out already. Mm-hmm. We need something. And it was that spark that kind of pissed Debo off. He was okay, that's the flip of the switch.
Yeah.
I'm angry, and he ran angry the rest of the game. His big touchdown late in the game. I have never seen Debo Samuel run that fast in my entire life.
He was cooking.
He was gone.
He was cooking. And you saw him in that run. He kind of got through things, and he didn't, through the tackles, he didn't know if somebody else was coming.
Yeah.
He literally hit the NOS button and just said, I'm ghost.
He was Vin Diesel.
I am out of here. I thought somebody pressed fast forward.
It's fast 10, man.
What is going on? And he just left everybody in the dirt. And when you see Debo do things like that, it's just a reminder. There was a play early in the first half where that should be a negative play. Somehow Debo gets 7 yards out of it. We see that type of stuff. We talk about his tree chunks for legs. Yeah. We talk about that type of stuff.
He's so thick, man.
That you
in
don't,
a weird way, he's very thick.
But you don't necessarily. There's so much to love about Debo that sometimes you don't love everything at the same time. And today was a gentle reminder that Debo can fly. Debo can move.
Well, even today, this year for Debo has not been his all-pro year. Last year was an amazing year. He got paid and all that stuff. And it was okay, what are you going to do next? Mm-hmm. And this year I can say it's kind of been maybe an upset for him. He hasn't been healthy. He's missed some games. It has not been the Debo Samuel we've come to know and love.
Right.
Today was that Debo Samuel again of you have awoken the sleeping giant.
Right.
I am now the all-pro receiver this offense has lacked all year. Ayuk's been great, over 1,000 yards, but they have not had Debo Samuel this Debo all year long.
Right.
The guy that breaks 7 tackles and gets a big touchdown. This Debo Samuel today was all pro Debo Samuel.
And I think the best thing about that is when you look at Debo's numbers, obviously you see what he did last year, and yeah, that was great. But last time I checked, they didn't leave with the Lombardi, right? They didn't.
No.
And now you go into this season, and Debo injured, things like that, as you already alluded to, but you went out and got Christian McCaffrey. Mm-hmm. And now you have a quarterback that allows George Kittle to, again, catch footballs and not be an offensive lineman. So those things combined, you might not see those crazy numbers from Debo moving forward, but it's a more balanced offense. It is an offense that's harder to stop. So I don't necessarily think it's a negative, besides obviously you don't want Debo to be injured. But
no negative at all. Like that is a positive.
It's a positive because when Debo does get the ball, you talk about that NOS button. If you thought Debo always won 100, but now he can go 110, 120 because he knows he's not going to have to do this all game long. There's going to be a McCaffrey stint in the game. There's going to be a Kittle stint in the game. There's going to be an Ayuk stint in the game. So when Debo gets the rock, y'all better watch out. Because and the draft is coming up, Sterling. We're about to talk about all that. Oh, the next Debo. There ain't no other Debo.
Yeah.
Can we stop with that? I don't want to hear anybody come out. This guy
he's built different
from the SEC. He's very similar to Debo Samuel. No, he's not. I don't even know who he is.
No one.
I don't even know who the unnamed receiver is. Yeah. He is not Debo Samuel. You've seen nothing like it.
Well, I fell into that last year of, okay, like, if you're going to trade Debo like he said he wanted to be traded, who can you pick? And I think now who you can say guys are comparable to him kind of, but nobody is Debo Samuel.
No.
There was no one that can touch the ball 9 total times, and give you 165 yards. 22 yards per catch today.
Yeah.
20 per catch. That's 2 first downs.
Right.
Like, you are basically telling every opposing defense, I dare you to stop Christian McCaffrey. Oh, but here's Debo. Then here's Ayuk. Then here's Kittle. Oh, then here's Brock Purdy, who isn't a statue.
And here's a guy who, could have took a jump this year, but we went out and got other guys. Oh yeah, don't forget about Juwan Jennings either.
He had a huge catch today.
Right, that guy's pretty good too. It's 3rd and Juwan. That guy's pretty good too. So what's crazy about this Niners offense, they have 2 exceptions to the rules on their team.
Yeah.
When you go through and you talk about positions, right? Okay, the wide receiver does. If you were explaining the game of football to somebody who had never played before, and they happen to watch Christian McCaffrey and Debo play, and that person would say, well, you told me that a running back does this, and this. Yeah, they do, but that's Christian McCaffrey. Okay, well, you told me a wide receiver does that, but Debo's doing that. Well, yeah, but that's Debo Samuel. They got 2 of them. They got 2 of them on the same team, and I think it's just impossible to game plan. And yes, it's against the Seahawks who limped into the playoffs. We get all that, but that doesn't change the fact that you have to get going faster, and we're about to get started here and talk about the things that the Niners can improve of. But there is nobody that can simply say we can check all of them. Our defense has the ability to check all these dudes. It's impossible. It's impossible.
There is not one defense. Like, the Niners defense might give up some points. We've seen that recently, especially against the Raiders. But even today, 23 points, that's not what we expect. We expect 17 or just 20, right? And they gave them some free opportunities today. But the Niners offense, like, this offense is better than it was when they were in the Super Bowl 3 years ago.
Right.
And that offense is putting up 25 points a game. They've scored 33-plus points in every game Brock Purdy has played in, Dolphins game included, outside of one, and that was the time you clinched the division in Seattle. 33 or more points in every game Brock Purdy's played in, outside of one.
And how do you keep that going? I'm not going to say cap it off because they're not done yet. How do you keep that going? By dropping 41 in your first playoff game, which was the most points you've scored in a game all season. So they're just getting better.
Yeah.
They're continuing this climb. Brock Purdy is continuing this climb. And every time you have situations where Brock Purdy struggles, he's going to be able to bookmark that and go back to it later in the season. We said the same thing about the Raider game. We said the same thing, in other games. And this is a situation, Brock Purdy, all right, I got that first half out of my system. I missed some throws. It was wet. I got going back in the second half. Now to me, the only question, playoff games, I don't even think I'm worried about Brock Purdy being.
No.
The only thing I would worry about is, I think that he would have some, just like anybody. Sure, Super Bowl, we'll have that conversation if we get there.
Right.
But any other playoff game, I don't see Brock Purdy being more nervous than, if nervous was the right word, or having more butterflies than he did in this game, starting off the playoff season. You could make the argument for the NFC Championships because it's a go to the Super Bowl, but that team was there last year, so there would be a lot of guys like, hey, this is how it works, this, that, the third. The Super Bowl is a different beast. That's what I would say.
And the beautiful thing about this team is that they have so many people that have been there and done that.
Right.
Like, the majority of this team was there last year, outside of maybe a handful of guys, McCaffrey and Purdy obviously included, but it's not like many people on the team weren't there in 2019 either. It's the same core.
Right.
And when Purdy became the starting quarterback or was put in against the Dolphins, it was, okay, you don't have to do much. Be the point guard, be the Rajon Rondo on the Celtics, feed Ray Allen and Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce. Let them do the damage, right? It's no longer that. It is, hey, you're Rondo in 2011. Hey, you are Chris Paul on the Clippers with Griffin and DeAndre. Like you are feeding these guys to go out there and kill, but you can also get 30 points yourself.
Right.
And I do think, like, with this offense and Kyle Shanahan, when you trust your quarterback, the whole Jimmy Garoppolo conversation has been, he doesn't trust Jimmy. Does he trust Trey? All that garbage conversation that sometimes...
You miss it, don't you?
A little bit. It might be valid sometimes.
Yeah.
Like the whole conversation of Jimmy Garoppolo, 7 passes in one game. 19 passes in one half.
Yeah.
Kyle Shanahan said, hey, Brock Purdy, go win me this game. You are going to be the reason why we win this game today.
Yeah.
Like, when has Kyle Shanahan ever told a quarterback that outside of Matt Ryan when he won the MVP?
You got to go back a ways. And they set the tone early.
Yeah.
Because I think Seattle, and that's the thing about Kyle Shanahan, he loves doing the opposite of what everybody thinks. How many times the national media, even us, the local media, it's going to be a slog. Monsoon
Right.
2.0.
Who's a mutter? Who's not a mutter?
You know, they're running the football all day. Kyle Shanahan says, yeah, everybody thinks we're going to run the football. So that first drive, we're going to throw the ball. We're going to throw the ball the first 2 plays.
Yeah.
Straight up. I don't care about what you guys thought was going to happen.
You zig, I'm going to zag.
And it's raining. And I do not, just like Mike Tomlin, we do not care. We do not care about what you expect us to do, because that is where we get you. Because you know what? Seattle probably fell into the same thing. Yeah. Okay, they're the Niners. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. No, we're going to let Brock Purdy spin that thing because he can spin it. Okay, let's get into the things that we saw, as we've been alluding to and talking about butterflies or beat, kind of the difference between the two. Let's get into the game. Let's get into the slow start. Let's get into some of the X's and O's. And I would say this, that those first couple drives from the Seahawks, right? The Niners were all over them. They could not run the football. The Seahawks couldn't. Geno couldn't find anybody.
Kinlaw, big stop. Armstead, big sack.
Exactly. Then something changed. And I think because of what we spoke about in the first segment about Charvarius Ward just being beat.
He wasn't
Mooney
good
Ward, he was getting beat by an elite wide receiver. I don't know if DK Metcalf wants to be elite every single day, but today he decided I want to be elite.
He played up.
He definitely said the lights are bright. Let's see if I can will this thing, because I'm a monster of a man, and let's see if I can. And he did his darndest. He did his darndest. So when DK made those two tough catches early, and on one of them, they still ended up going 3 and out or something like that. That second one, it was on the left sideline.
The slant.
And I'm thinking, man, that was a tough catch. I mean, it didn't really look like it.
He did it twice.
He did it twice. And that opened everything up. Mm-hmm. And as cliche as that sounds when we're talking football, that's what this is. As soon as that catch was made, okay, next thing you know, Kenneth Walker is busting one. Then Geno Smith is chug-a-lugging down, and he gets a first down. And after that,
well, they were down 10-0.
Exactly. I'm texting people like, "Wow, this is gonna be a blowout."
He said it. 17-0. Here we come.
And it was just not in the same way that I thought it was.
Right.
And you had Kenneth Walker start to do some things. You had all these guys start to get involved. So to me, that is something that you're DeMeco Ryans. Who knows if you're going to be back here again? This could be your swan song with the Niners. What do you do, right? How do you scheme out of that, knowing that there are some elite wide receivers with good running games that you still could play? All these guys. If you have to play the Vikings, Justin Jefferson will be a problem. If you have to play the Cowboys, I would put CeeDee Lamb under, right? CeeDee Lamb,
he's really good.
He's really good. He's not Justin Jefferson. No. But I don't know if DK is Justin Jefferson. I wouldn't say DK is either. So Justin Jefferson.
Well, Jefferson's MVP.
He's in a different stratosphere.
About it.
So you have Justin Jefferson. Maybe you just say, hey, we're just going to do our best to not let him win the whole game, right? Not be that game breaker.
You're essentially playing Cooper Kupp.
Exactly.
Right.
So you see that, and DeMeco Ryans is going to go home after they celebrate this win. You see that, and you think, all right, how can we fix this?
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily know the answer off the top of my head. I'm also not a defensive coordinator in the NFL.
Right, but I could argue that other quarterbacks like Daniel Jones or Dak Prescott or even Kirk Cousins, who some of them have had great years, like Kirk Cousins has had an amazing year. Mm-hmm. Dak Prescott, albeit so many picks this year, he's been impressive outside of the interceptions.
He is the definition of a gunslinger to me.
Right.
Because he's going to throw. You don't know who he's throwing it to, but he's going to throw it.
But I could argue that because, like, Geno Smith falls right at the Mendoza line for a quarterback of, like, he ain't tier 5 anymore, right? He's right in the middle, tier 3. He ain't great. He ain't bad. He's going to keep you in that game the entire time.
Yeah.
He's not going to do anything crazy. He had a 1 deep ball today. It was great. Mooney got beat again by DK, but Kirk Cousins is going to have those ebbs and flows of he's really elite and then he's really bad.
Yeah.
Dak Prescott, he's a good quarterback. Pick, game's over with. Daniel Jones, he's fine. Right.
We don't have to have that conversation right
now. Fair. But, like, I think Geno Smith may have the highest floor and the lowest ceiling of those guys, if that makes sense. Because the other guys, great arms, good playmakers, but you can, like, the other quarterbacks, despite their greatness, despite how good they are going to hit the floor against this defense. And to me, that's the difference. Where Geno, he didn't get rattled. Like, he was like a pitcher, right? Get your first strike, settle in. Okay, his first strike came 3 drives in the game, down 10-0,
right.
But he settled in. Yeah. And even late in the game, he had a big fumble and a pick, but like, nothing, he came back and got a touchdown. He was not rattled throughout the entirety of the game. Once he got settled in, you can rattle Kirk Cousins, you can rattle Dak Prescott. Like,
oh, Dak, sometimes he looked like he'd be seeing ghosts on the sidelines.
He's Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
Seeing ghosts.
Seriously.
Like,
he makes, the same way, as comfortable and as I guess calm as Brock Purdy makes me feel, Dak Prescott makes me feel the opposite. So you put that situation, you put Kirk Cousins in a situation with that defense, the Niners defense, that's a problem. The only guy that seems a little unflappable to me would be Jalen Hurts, because Jalen Hurts has already been through a lot. He's already lost his starting job at Alabama. He already had people thinking that Gardner Minshew might have beat him out. All these things. So I think that that's a guy that, okay, you can beat all these teams, don't get me wrong. But when you talk about, okay, how this defense can affect them mentally, there are a lot of quarterbacks that could get rattled up. I want to call out this text message.
510?
510.
Yeah, I see it.
And I want to be sure, everybody listening here, this is not coming from me. This is not coming from Sterling, because we know it just, you happen to chime in, you might think it was us. This is from the 510. Please don't talk about the rookie doing good. He almost threw 3 interceptions.
Almost.
He was erratic as heck. And if that was a different team, he would have been down way more. The 1 point believed that he isn't that great. He's basically an average QB to me. Thank you, 510. Thank you for listening to the show. Look, this is that's a little harsh, but I would also say that the reason we have to decide if it's butterflies or Brock being in his head is because you can't, to that point, you're going to play better teams. I think we can still enjoy what Brock Purdy did, and I do. I think he balled out today. Early, he was erratic. And I think maybe a version of that, of what 510 said, would be if you play like that early in a game, or some of those mistakes that he is making, you're not going to get away with them. And I think that's fair. That's fair.
I think he has 17 touchdowns in 6 games.
That's pretty good.
That's average?
That's average.
No. Like,
that's average.
That's not.
But again, if we go the route of he almost threw 3 interceptions,
who cares?
well then if Amenihu doesn't force a fumble, do the Seahawks lose? We don't have time.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
Amenihu almost had a sack on 2nd down and made it 3rd down. He didn't.
Right.
What did he do? Came back, got the strip sack, Bosa recovered it, game flipped. Brock Purdy almost threw 3 picks. What did he do? Scored 4 touchdowns. I get it. Better defense, better situation. I get it. Right? But Jimmy did the same thing. But he wasn't doing what Brock Purdy was doing. Other quarterbacks have higher turnover-worthy rates in the NFL that aren't doing what Brock Purdy's doing. Like, Brock Purdy's doing things that you can say are average because he looks tiny and he's small and he's almost throwing picks. I don't care.
Yeah.
You want to know why? 4 touchdowns, 41 points. That's the difference.
Well, and to me, again, it's crazy to me that nobody is giving Brock any grace in terms of it being his first game. And I know that these last couple games for him, people have been just keying in on him more. It's no more just send the house and have Brock find somebody. Right. So it's a learning process, but it's crazy to me because another 510 is saying, I want to be sold on him, but some of these missed throws, not seeing the wide open Debo. Correct me if I'm wrong, Sterling. Off the top of your head, how many throws did Brock Purdy miss badly, right, in the second half?
Probably 0.
Because if
they scored 25 points.
But that's what I'm saying. If we want to talk about what Brock Purdy did wrong, I am putting it. Are we the only people putting this in the category of just first game, first playoff game, butterflies? And what's crazy is we're talking like, if we're going to bring that stuff up, at least have him play like that the whole game so we can say he missed throws throughout the game. In the second half, I did not see anything. And the kicker is, it's not as if, well, that's because he was comfortable, blah, 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 blah. They were losing.
Yeah.
So if anything, that's caused to be more tight. You were a 9.5-point favorite. You were at home. You made a stupid play. Then the Seahawks were taking momentum. If anything, that's where you get tight. And what does Brock Purdy do? He levels up. He goes Super Saiyan. He goes in there and he plays he plays better in the second half. And off the top of my head, and you can correct me if I'm wrong.
I will.
Anybody, I know you will, but anybody on the Xfinity Mobile text line, you can call in. Let me know. But in the second half specifically, I didn't see the issues that I saw in the first half. So for me, it's easy for me to throw it in that bucket, because why not? Why not? Why sit there and be worried about throws that he missed in the first half when he didn't miss those throws in the second half?
Here's the thing. There was only one drive in this game where I said, oh no, this might be going the wrong way.
Right.
Seattle took the lead 14-13. What does San Francisco do? 3 and out. He had that forced throw to Debo on third down. Wasn't a great throw, and I'll give it to you 5-0. But guess what? When your quarterback makes a bad throw, who picks you up? Your punter, great punt, which now is like 60-yard punt.
Right.
Danny Gray, big gunner tackle, needed it. What'd your defense do? Get you out and gets the ball back.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you play cohesive football.
Right.
Your quarterback struggles. Hey, defense, step it up. Like, this defense 2 weeks ago was awful against the Raiders. The offense stepped up. Purdy stepped up. In this game, there was a certain point where it could have gone the wrong way, where he almost threw 3 picks, and they got up 3 now, and the defense is like, hey, we were just on the field. We have to go back out there because you didn't do your job. What did Brock Purdy do? Okay, well, defense picked me up. I'm going to go score some points. I'm going to score 25 points in the second half. I'm going to throw 3 touchdowns. Should have been a 4th one in the game.
If you ever want to think about the difference between almost and reality, go tell somebody, I'm almost 6 foot.
Right. Well,
versus actually being it. Right. It's a big difference.
I'm almost 6'3".
Well, I'm not talking about you, Sterling. Thank you for throwing that out there, by the way. Almost doesn't matter.
Right.
It does. It matters in a way.
It's horseshoes and hand grenades, right?
It matters to me if the almost were happening in the second half.
Yeah. When you almost lost the game.
Exactly. To me,
but you won by 18.
To me, it all happened in the first half. So I'm not ready to go there. And look, I'm sure he missed some throws in the second half, but I'm saying they were egregious in the first half.
Yeah.
We can agree with that. We can also agree with the first caller that called in 888-957-9570 if you want to be a part of the conversation as well. Are you still stuck in traffic? Have you left Santa Clara? Is it raining? Let us know.
Maybe our stadium kind of sucks getting out of.
Right, so we know you're still in there.
Call in.
Yeah, we know you're still in there. We know you got some time. So to me, here's the other thing. Go around, close your eyes right now, and go around all the quarterbacks in the NFL.
Okay.
How many teams don't have question marks at the quarterback position? Is it 5?
Maybe 12.
12?
And even that 12th guy is like, we could replace him.
And we could. I'm talking about cemented.
That's the Derek Carrs, right?
Right. I'm talking about cemented. We don't have a conversation. There's
even the Ravens are thinking that.
Right. There's Justin Herbert. There's Burrow. There's Mahomes.
Allen.
There's Josh Allen off the top of my head. And I guess wherever Aaron Rodgers goes. So that's 5 off the top of my head.
Even Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback of all time, is like, I may not want to be here.
Mm-hmm.
And Tampa Bay might say, yeah, us too.
Yeah.
Bring us an average guy who is 28 years old and we're paying less money, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't like the almost stuff because you didn't almost lose the game because Brock Purdy almost threw 4 picks. You won the game by 18 points.
Right.
You had the spread, but you doubled it.
Yeah.
It was 9.5. You got 18.
So, but again, I get, but this isn't a bad thing. And I see you 510. Why don't you read what I said before? We got a lot of texts coming through. So, but look, I love what you're saying. Thanks for listening.
I apologize.
Yes. They come in a little differently sometimes. We love what you're talking about. Thank you for tuning in. But that's ultimately the thing. Like we don't know how many different, like how many other quarterbacks are doing what Brock Purdy is doing, and because everybody is making mistakes.
Yeah.
Every QB is making mistakes. But I do like the fact that we're having this conversation.
It's like Hannah Montana.
In what way?
Everybody makes mistakes.
Oh,
Everyone has those days.
There's a throwback. There's a throwback right there. Because the thing is, we do have to have this conversation.
Yeah.
And Brock Purdy didn't play perfect. To me,
perfect.
Yeah, perfect, right? To me, it still comes down to, all right, he did play well in the second half.
Yeah.
But if we are looking forward, I can agree. I can agree that you can't get off to a slow start like this against the Eagles.
Right.
We can all agree with that. Now, whether it's it doesn't matter if it's butterflies, doesn't matter if it was wet, doesn't matter if it was off. You get started.
Can't do it.
You get started like this against probably just moving forward. Whoever you play next, there's probably going to be a problem. Because like we said, a couple years ago, Seahawks wouldn't even be in the playoffs based on the setup. So this is what it is. All right. We got about 30 seconds here. We can maybe get a minute. Bruce, let's get you on. Wants to talk about the Niners. What's up, Bruce? You're on Overtime with Allen and Sterling. We got you, Bruce.
Bruce.
Bruce, call back after the break. We got to get to it. When we come back, we are doing overtime overachievers, and we're also talking about the future. What is next? What could happen with the Niners? And yes, more of your calls, more of your texts, 95.7 The Game.
Boy, am I glad to be done with my holiday shopping.
Oh, I know.
And now I just want to relax.
Me too. Well, except there's one more store we should check out.
Oh, no way.
Because this week, we can get a Samsung, LG, or Sony TV at an incredible price.
Really? Where?
At Video Only's year-end clearance sale. They're really cutting deals.
Because the holidays are over?
Yep. So this is our chance to get what we wanted for Christmas.
Are the prices really that good?
Yes. For 7 days they are. And Video Only has those top-rated models we were thinking about all on sale.
All right. The best stuff cheap is worth a trip.
At Video Only, you won't find huge stores with refrigerators or microwaves, but you will find the best deals on top-rated TVs, soundbars, and monitors. Shop around. Just make sure you visit Video Only, because if you don't,
you'll be sorry.
In Mountain View, San Mateo, Union City, Dublin, and San Rafael. Video Only.
Get up to $26,000 of ERC money for every employee you had in 2020 and 21 that qualifies. You qualify if you satisfy either one of these two tests. The easy way, your gross revenue drops a certain amount. The complex way, a full or partial closure of your business, a facts and circumstances test. You could only use the inside of your business up to 25% of capacity. Even an essential business like a food store had a 75% partial closure. Or supply chain disruptions. Or limits on the number of people you could have in an area. Or many other possible factors. Beware of companies that only consider the easy way and avoid the complex way. And also companies that fraudulently say everybody qualifies, especially companies that only just recently came into existence and then can disappear. We've been practicing tax law for over 30 years. Call Moskowitz LLP at 888-TAX-DEAL. That's 888-TAXDEAL. 888-TAX-DEAL or MoskowitzLLP.com. MOSKOWITZ.LLP.com.
Hi, welcome to IKEA and our winter sale. Hi. We've got hundreds of offers on everything from storage solutions to...
I'm sorry, did you say hundreds?
Yeah. Check out our offers on shelving and desks.
Ooh, what about mattresses?
Yep, those too.
Dressers? Sofas?
Yes and yes.
I think I need a bigger cart.
Our winter sale is almost over. Visit us in-store or at IKEA-USA.com/offers to save through January 22nd. Offer dates may vary. U.S. only while supplies last. Selection may vary by store and online. See store and IKEA-USA.com/offers for complete terms. Restrictions apply.
The best part about taking ZQuil Pure Z's Sleep Plus Next Day Energy at night is actually the next morning. I wake up alert with none of the grogginess from taking too much melatonin. Pure Z Sleep Plus Next Day Energy is a bilayer tablet with immediate release melatonin and extended release B vitamins to help me fall asleep naturally and wake refreshed. It's my secret weapon for a great night's sleep and a great morning.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Mom.
Can't beat that.
ZQuil Pure Z's Gummies. Sleep better, wake your best.
Shop limited time deals at the Truckload event at Lowe's, happening now. Save big on your favorites across the store. During this event, get up to 50% off select tools and accessories. Plus, find the perfect floor tile for your home for less. Get up to 50% off select styles while you can. Head to your local Lowe's store or visit Lowes.com to shop the Truckload event today. Valid 12/29 through 1/25 while supplies last. Selection varies by location. See Lowes.com for details. Discount taken at time of purchase.
On the podcast, Hey Dude, the 90s Called, David Lasher and Christine Taylor, stars of the cult classic show Hey Dude, bring you back to the days of slip dresses and choker necklaces.
We're going to use Hey Dude as our jumping off point, but we are going to unpack and dive back into the decade of the 90s.
We lived it, and now we're calling on all of our friends to come back and relive it.
So leave a code on your best friend's beeper, because you'll want to be there when the nostalgia starts flowing. Listen to Hey Dude, the 90s Called, wherever you get your podcasts.
They'll let him throw again. Wide open, Debo Samuel. Got a block from George Kittle. Debo Samuel. There he goes. Foot on the gas. All the way. Touchdown, San Francisco. A 74-yarder.
Now, back to Overtime with Kyle Madsen and Alan Stiles on 95.7 The Game.
We are back 30 more minutes with you in this playoff edition of Overtime with Alan Stiles and Sterling Bennett filling in for Kyle Madsen. That is Sterling. As we talk about the Niners and you win by 18, you double the spread. I know it was 9.5, but you double the spread. That's a thumping, right? You won 41.
Feels a lot better knowing it's Seattle.
41-23. You beat the Seattle Seahawks, and Pete Carroll smacking that gum.
Hate it.
You don't got to see him till next year.
Bothers me so much.
I will say this, now that you beat him, Gino, Gino did have the big fumble that did change some things. They were already losing at that point, losing by 6. And he had that pick.
Lenore coming up big.
Lenore, and by the way, that's a good call because Lenore's been hearing it lately. He's had a rough go. Rightfully so. He's had a rough go these last couple of weeks. So I know it felt good for him to get that pick and be on the other side of things. But I also wanted to say, Gino was another guy. I mean, this was another battle of the underdogs. You had Gino, who a lot of people had counted out. So I know he plays for the Seahawks now, but hey, good on Gino. He was a tier 5 at the beginning of the season by himself, by his lonesome in the basement. So good on Gino for a good season. And honestly, like we said, the Seahawks in a way are a bit ahead of schedule. Nobody expected them to be in the playoffs.
This was their transition year.
They went
9-8 and went to the playoffs.
Right. So
all due respect to those guys. Good season. I won't say great, but good season.
Right.
You did what you weren't supposed to do. You can build on to next year. Hopefully it's not against us though.
Exactly. That's the main kicker. But ultimately you came up against a buzzsaw. You came up against a team that is just better than you. And they knew that. And Pete Carroll earlier, this week talking his gamesmanship. It might have been half gamesmanship, half honesty, because ultimately,
do you think he came in and was like, yeah, we're not going to win?
He didn't say that to them.
Do you think he thought it?
I think he thought, to your point, they had to play perfect. And I think we all knew watching that game that when Gino fumbled that ball, there was no way
Here we go.
The Seahawks were coming back from that.
Yeah.
There was just no way that they were going to come back for that. Want to get to this text, the 510. My goodness, Alan, your biased opinions that favor Trey Lance are looking so
Trey
horrible.
Lance so much, man.
You try to find a reason to diminish Brock Purdy. I'm just owning this. That I'm a Trey Lance guy now. Even when I don't say Trey Lance's name, and even when I read a text about Brock Purdy not playing well, it gets put on that I said what happened, or I said something negative about Brock Purdy, even when it actually wasn't my quote. So that's new.
Even when you say how great Brock Purdy's playing,
yes,
and also how much you wanted Justin Fields,
right,
you still love Trey Lance.
So 510, love you, and thank you for spelling my name right, Allen. So I do like you for that.
How do other people spell it?
Allan, things like that.
Gotcha.
So we got to look forward here, and Bruce, I see you. We got you back on the line. We got to look forward here. Obviously, they got an AFC going on tonight with the Chargers and the Jags, but when you look at the NFC. That Monday night game, you have 2 games tomorrow. A lot can dictate what happens to the Niners, but we know that it's going to be in Santa Clara. That's what we do know.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal. And I think that, whether it
shouldn't rain next weekend
shouldn't rain. You got through it. I think it rained a bit less than everybody thought. So I think that the Niners feel good about it. I think that everybody expected there to be some butterflies. I think it would have been extremely impressive if they just came out,
ran right
as a machine, and it was just over.
What started that way? It was 10-0.
Right.
And you thought, okay, here comes the buzz.
I have Seahawks friends. I was texting them,
talking
hey,
trash.
At least you made it, man. At least you made it to the tournament.
Consolation prize.
Yeah, here's your
7th seed.
Exactly. At least you're in there, man. At least you're doing some good things.
Seattle's credit, they came back. They made this a game for 3.5 quarters?
Mm-hmm.
There was a point where it was they may go ahead again.
Right. Would you say that this is a game? It's a weird one because we use these terms. Do you think this game was closer than the score said? Because I feel like no. Well, even though it felt in the moment, it just the avalanche came. We thought the avalanche would come.
Yeah.
We just didn't know when. But but for majority of the game, it was close.
Right, but couldn't I ask that? Isn't a game like this exactly what you want if you're San Francisco?
I would say yes.
Get tested in your first playoff game.
Mm-hmm.
That way, again, you can clean up some stuff. And also, Brock Purdy in that perspective of, okay, look, you got tested. You played a defense you've seen now the second time. They came at you pretty tough. You almost threw 3 picks, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what'd you do? Second half adjustments, you made some changes, and you had 4 touchdowns.
Right.
To me, that is important. Get Brock Purdy the experience, but also, Lenore, he didn't play last year in the playoffs.
Right.
It was Ambry Thomas and Mosley, and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
Those were the guys, right? And then you have guys like Hufanga, who really didn't play much, albeit maybe big play against the Packers last year. Tayshaun Gibson is a vet who hasn't played in the playoffs in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Kinlaw, he didn't play last year.
Right.
He made a great play today, first drive. There there were integral pieces that I do think are overlooked because it's the Brock Purdy show.
Mm-hmm.
But other guys needed the experience, and they get tested early. I think that's the best thing for them.
Right, and I think that, well, number one, there's always going to be somebody out there, and I can't wait for it. I really do wish he threw a pick today, just so he could learn from it. You know, I wish Brock Purdy threw a pick.
Another box checked off.
Yeah, another box. He threw a pick. So isn't it nice to have to be able to have these learning experience and not throw a pick and not lose a game? You know, that was the thing with the Raiders. Okay, we legitimately had fans saying, I really kind of wish they lost that game.
Right, but it was like, you almost lost.
Right. Isn't that good enough? You got to taste the loss without the loss.
Just that, it's almost like you almost threw a pick. Isn't that good enough? Where he goes, okay, don't do that again.
Exactly.
And I didn't get burned for it.
That's the same way I feel. 888-957-9570. Let's go out to Bruce in Santa Clara.
Bruce.
That wants to talk Niners. What's up, Bruce? You're on Overtime with Alan and Sterling.
Come on, Bruce.
Bruce part 2?
Man.
Bruce, we were all rooting for you. All right, let's go out to... Oh, Bruce, we got you?
You hear me?
Yeah, we got you now.
All right. We're just here. We're discussing. We're hearing all this Trey Lance praise, but we want to know, how are you such a big Trey Lance fan right now over Brock Purdy when Brock Purdy has more touchdowns than Trey Lance has drives in the NFL?
Bruce,
where's it coming from?
What show are you listening to? When did I say Trey Lance?
You just said it.
Are you 510?
You're a Trey Lance guy.
Well, that was more of a joke, Bruce.
I think you missed a joke. Thanks, Bruce. Yeah. Let's get out to Robin in San Francisco. We know what Robin's bringing.
Oh, yeah.
What's up, Robin?
It's going to be heat.
You're on Overtime with Alan Sterling.
Yeah, how can you guys hear me?
We got you, Robin.
Yeah, we got you.
It's really okay. So, I'm a Niner fan. Nitpick about this boy almost, and the key word is almost through 2 Ds, He didn't though, okay? So give it a break. What concerns me more, and I can't pinpoint, but I just feel that the defense...
I think we need a better connection, Robin. Call back. It sounds like you're underwater.
Oh, it is raining.
It is raining. Come on, callers. We got to pick it up. We got misquotes. We got a lot going on. The Niners just won a playoff game. Nobody is. Why can't you just enjoy it? Nobody is talking about the future. All we're talking about is who the Niners play next. That's it.
Which we don't know.
That's it.
We don't know. It's also the future.
So you know what we can do instead? You can enjoy the playoff win.
Right.
And I think that, maybe it's just a microcosm of just society in general, to just enjoy it. But at the same time,
Trey Lance's fault.
It is. Yeah, it is. Now thanks, Sterling. Now I'm going to get in trouble for that. Now I'm going to get in trouble for that. So, look, I understand you have to look forward. I'm not looking forward of anything I'm not talking QB this, QB that. All I'm talking about right now, if we want to look forward, we're looking forward in terms of what the Niners have to do. What the Niners have to do moving forward. Because this team, like we said, the Seahawks, they were ahead of schedule, this, that, the third. We aren't sure, what any team, I don't know if there's a team, maybe the Giants or somebody like that. The Seahawks were the last seed. They were the last seed. So you can't play like that for the rest of the playoffs, specifically the first half. You got to be able to start faster. What are the things that the Seahawks did that other teams are going to say, okay, obviously they got to win their games, but if you're the Eagles, whoever, all right, well, the Seahawks did blank well. We feel like we can do that as well. But in that way, we do have to talk about the future. But the other part of that is you also can just enjoy the win. You can do both too. This is a free country.
Is it weird that I'm more worried about the defense than I am the offense? Like, that doesn't seem right to me.
Yeah.
And I know the offense has, again, all these pieces, CMC and Debo's and Ayuk and Kittle. But the defense is the number one defense in football.
Okay.
They gave up 23 points, and the only reason it was 23 was because of a dumb squib kick and a penalty.
Yeah.
And a garbage time touchdown.
Yeah.
That's 10 points. That's 13 points they really gave up.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Against the 7C, which this game could have easily been 41-13.
Yeah.
But somehow, some way, I'm still like, I don't know, that secondary worries me.
It's because it's tough to do both. Right? If we think the Seahawks aren't good,
right,
then everything that you're looking at, and that's what some of the texts have said as well.
It means nothing.
You have to keep that as well, because you have to now say, well, if we are going to look forward and if we do have championship aspirations and Super Bowl aspirations, we have to think about, okay, well, any team that they play next, you have to assume is going to be better. That's it.
But do you?
I mean,
because this team destroyed Tampa Bay.
Still off the top of my head, the only team that worries me are the Eagles in the NFC.
But you might not even play them.
No.
Like, again, they could win. Not looking ahead by any means, but like Seattle is fine. They're an average team in a non-7 seed NFC playoff picture.
Mm-hmm.
They're 7-9, they're 8-8, right? Giants don't scare me. The Vikings maybe scare me more than the Giants do, but I've seen Kirk Cousins plenty of times falter in prime time.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's Philadelphia, which they're banged up.
It's about Jalen. I mean, I looked up
and
on
Lane
Sunday.
Johnson's a big one too.
Yeah, and I looked up on Sunday, and obviously that was Jalen's first game back. They've been very open. The Eagles have. We really needed this bye. We really needed this bye, and they've been very open.
But even then, that could hurt them.
Well, I mean, against the Giants, every time I looked up, Jalen was not connecting with A.J. Brown. I mean, he was off.
Yeah.
But he toughed through it.
My shoulders still hurt.
Yeah.
But it's funny because Philadelphia is saying they need the bye. But San Francisco, the conversation was maybe they shouldn't have the bye.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe them keep playing. They're hot, like they're on fire. You don't want to have that bye, then lose your winning streak.
Right.
They've won 11 straight games. They're the hottest team in football, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yet somehow, and again, this is also like I'm doing this too. I'm sitting here saying, which team worries me the most? But then inside I go, should I even be worried at all? And I get it's football, but this team has won 11 straight games. They scored 41 points today.
Yeah.
Should I even worry at all? Should Philadelphia scare me, who has lost to the Dallas Cowboys?
And I feel like we can't answer that question.
No.
Right?
But in my heart, I'm like, I don't think I should worry.
I think that when you look at what the Seahawks were able to do, yes, the Eagles could do some things. They have an elite receiver. They have two because Devontae Smith is about that action too.
They have an MVP caliber quarterback right now.
They have a mobile court. They have anything that would worry any team, right? They have a good defense, a solid defense. They have an elite wide receiver. They have a very good number 2 that could be a number 1 on other teams.
Yeah.
They have a mobile quarterback and they have a good running game. All those things, that's why you have to worry about the Eagles. Now, whether you think that the other pieces of the circumstances, whether it's Jalen Hurts being healthy, things like that is different. But on paper and just as a unit, that's why this team worries you. Okay, now this is what I'm talking about. We got 5 lined up, and it's all positivity.
Wow.
All positivity. Live for the moment. 888-957-9570. You're making our guy Cam earn his paycheck today. That's what I like. Let's talk to Raul in San Francisco, who wants to talk the positivity of a win. What's up, Raul? You're on overtime.
Hey, what's up, guys? Dude, first off, yes, let's go.
There you go.
I mean, that's all I care about. Win. That's all I care about. But, I mean, can we talk about the real MVP of the game? Is the dude who decided to play a bad day at the commercial break when just sullen faces, just dead faces on the Seahawks. It was the best. But, yeah, I mean, I want to keep it short and sweet. I mean, I'm here just to go work, and I just want to say what's up. And, you guys are doing a great job. Hell yeah, Niners. Let's go.
Thank you, Raul. I hope work goes fast for you. And it should go a little bit faster because you get to enjoy W.
Do I work nights here and they go slow?
Okay, but imagine having to go to work after an L. There are people in Seattle. There is the Seattle version of Raul now who's got to go to work after an L. And it's probably raining because it's always raining there. Let's give Robin another try. What's up, Robin? You know where you're at. It's overtime. Allen and Sterling. What you got for us?
Can you guys hear me now?
We got you good now.
Yeah, I'm at work. So I had to watch part of the game at work. But I think you guys stole a little of my thunder because when I first called in, it's not the offense that I'm really worried about. I can't get over 9 offenses almost.
Sorry, Robin. It's not me. It's Cam. You still sound.
No, it's Steiny's fault.
Yeah, probably. Probably Steiny's fault. Sorry about that, Robin. All right, let's try Connor, who's driving back from the game. What's up, Connor? You in traffic? What'd you think about Purdy? What you got for us?
What's up, Alan? What's up, Kyle? Yeah, that game was absolutely incredible. Walking back, I've never been that close to so many illegal fireworks, which is wild because I live in the East Bay. I think that what everyone just saw, I think folks were right that we needed to see Brock do that. He clearly had butterflies in that first half. Those overthrows were they were really, really dramatic. We hadn't seen that from Brock before. But what gives me so much hope is everything settled down, just like Kyle said in the post game. Everything settled down after Omenihu had that strip sack and Bosa recovered that fumble. And by the end of the game, Brock went straight back into Brock mode, and he had that incredible bullet pass to Ayuk. I think that was 3rd and 10, 2 people in his face. Fourth quarter stuff. I'm really, really happy about what Brock has done and what he can do going forward. So I'm nothing but optimistic. Bang, bang, Niner gang.
Love it.
Thanks for the call. Connor. Brock did settle in, and I think we all expected it. But even so, you can tell yourself you're prepared for something. Yeah. And as fans in particular, you can prepare, all right, this is going to be a tough game. And then when it actually happens, you still feel some type of way. You still go through it because you're a fan, and that's what it is. And I think that's what a lot of us saw. But Brock, found a way to fight through it. And one hand, you're thinking, wow, this was a rough game. And then Brock just decides to throw for 330 and touchdowns, and he's rushing touchdowns. Then he just decides to turn it on. So,
17 touchdowns in his last 6 games.
There's nobody else doing that. There's just nobody else doing that. And it's the way he's doing it. Yeah. Again, these aren't, and that's the thing. Everybody talks about this Kyle Shanahan offense, and we can plug and play anybody, right? Anybody. That's what they say nationally. That's what they say everywhere. I've never seen Skylar Thompson play, but I'm willing to bet this offense doesn't look the same with Skylar Thompson. And maybe he balls out. I've never seen him. Yeah. But my point is, we're acting like it could be anyone when I just don't think it is. There are starting QBs. Does the offense look like this with Daniel Jones? I don't think so.
See, this is what I don't like is that people treat Kyle Shanahan quarterbacks like his running backs. And just like Christian McCaffrey and Elijah Mitchell, no one's doing what they've done.
That's right.
Like, no Alfred Morris is in here, Tevin Coleman, Breida, who all had fine careers here for how long they ever were in San Francisco.
Yeah.
They ain't CMC, they ain't Mitchell. Brock Purdy's the same way. Jimmy Garoppolo was really successful in San Francisco. Many fans, even with Brock playing 3 weeks ago, said, if he comes back, what are you going to do?
Right.
But he has an attachment here to the Bay Area.
Mm-hmm.
Brock Purdy's doing better than that.
Yeah.
Like, Brock Purdy has taken the quarterback position in San Francisco and said, look, I can transcend it to better than winning 13 games in a season. They went 13-4 this year.
Right.
Won their first playoff game, scored 41 points. They weren't doing that when they went to the Super Bowl.
And I think that if it was just a plug and play type deal,
right,
you wouldn't see any real highlights. No. You wouldn't see any type of mixtapes or anything like that. Brock Purdy got himself a mixtape off this game.
By the NFL.
He is not just, okay, here's an open receiver. He is making things happen. 415 is chiming in on the Xfinity Mobile text line. We shouldn't look, and this is a great point, we shouldn't look over the fact that division opponents are always tougher than otherwise.
Yeah.
Seahawks may not be a contender, but they had a great game plan and Pro Bowlers on their team, and it was their 3rd time playing them. That's the first time that we've even mentioned that last part. It was their 3rd time playing them. So it was going to be closer, quote unquote, because it wasn't. At the end, it actually wasn't.
Well, it's funny, you watched the Fox pregame show, and it was Trent Williams and Debo Samuel. I think it was Christopher Thompson asking him. They said, you're playing Seattle for the 3rd time. Didn't that happen last year against the Rams? And they both looked at each other and said, oh, we haven't forgotten that.
Yeah.
Like, they knew coming into this game at the part of the conversation was like, this is the 3rd time you're playing Seattle. Happened last year against the Rams. I thought that. I'm sure the fans thought that too. But they had made it a point to say that's not going to happen again.
Yeah.
We did not forget that. That ended our year, broke our hearts. Trent Williams said, my goal is to get to a Super Bowl. It has a crack in my heart. Like, this team is so determined to undo what should have happened last year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they are determined to get this thing done. And the first step was knocking out your rival, that Debo Samuel himself is a bigger rival than the Rams are.
Right. And we talked earlier that, they've been using the term tournament a lot. And we talked earlier about how they're always butterflies. That one, what this reminded me of? It reminded me of, and I know a 16 seed actually won. I think it was last year in March Madness, but it reminds me of when the 1 seeds or the heavily favored, the 1 seed, the 2 seed, their first games. Mm-hmm. And how because it's only 2 halves in college basketball, when, the first 5 minutes of the game, the 16 seed's in it. And everyone's thinking, not even, it could be a 7-point lead. Yeah. I mean, could they do it? And then the team just wakes up and figures it out. That's essentially what we saw with the Niners. Let's go out to Jaime in San Pablo, who wants to talk about the offensive performance. What's up, Jaime? You're on with Alan and Sterling. It's overtime.
So I'm leaving the game too. I'm from San Pablo, but I'm just leaving the game.
Okay.
So to me, it's going to the Raider game, right? The Raider game, right? We wanted to see if Purdy could have that game where he could come back, right, from a deficit. He did that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then today, right, it's his first playoff game, and you see what the kid did, right? When was the last playoff game in Shanahan's era where the quarterback was the guy throwing the touchdowns and being the focal point, right? Because the running game was there a little bit today, but it wasn't compared nothing to like the Vikings in 2019, Green Bay, where Jimmy threw the interception and Shanahan said, nope, you're not throwing the ball no more. Shanahan said, Purdy, I want you to throw. He threw. And that's, for me, like the most positive thing that could go from this. Like, Purdy went out there. The defense was, like you guys said, they were iffy in the beginning. Purdy, had his moments in the beginning, but he came back and he was just throwing dimes that went to a uke. If he hits a uke, ESPN is replaying that for decades. I mean, what a
It was crazy.
So to me, I leave the game okay, let's go. We on a roll. Like, Purdy can do this.
No, that's a great call, Jaime. And I think the biggest point you made there, and it leads me to this point right here, is that what Brock Purdy did, or I believe he's starting to do, or maybe he already did it, he's starting to break the mold. People have this idea of Kyle Shanahan. It doesn't matter, what quarterback you have, because it's all about Kyle Shanahan. Brock Purdy is breaking that mold, and it takes a while to break the idea that people have about a situation. Everybody just assumes that. That's just the assumption. Brock Purdy is starting to do things that is breaking himself out of that. This is a Kyle Shanahan QB1. He's just QB1. He doesn't even need a name. That's just QB1 for Kyle Shanahan's offense. No, that's Brock Purdy in Kyle Shanahan's offense. So I think that's a great call by Jaime, and that's why 510 is chiming in on the text line. Why is nobody mentioning Purdy high-stepping? I'm telling you. He was out here trying to cook. He's out here trying to cook, and we talked about that humble swag that he has. Yeah. It's not, as I guess, outward as a Cam Newton or whatever it is, but he'll let you know now.
He comes to games wearing a sweatshirt and some jeans.
Right. I think he's got the same Fabletics plan that I do. I think we're rocking the same stuff.
He's going to class. Like, it feels like it's another day in the life of Brock Purdy for him. But I will say, to Jaime's point, the last time a Kyle Shanahan quarterback against the Seattle Seahawks in the playoffs, I know it's a lot there, Matt Ryan, 37 attempts, 338 yards, 3 touchdowns, won 36-20 in 2016.
Wow.
Like, Brock Purdy was doing MVP Kyle Shanahan, Matt Ryan quarterback stuff with less attempts, 7, mind you, and more touchdowns. I get different defenses and all that stuff. Context matters, but 41 points. It's Brock Purdy's doing elite stuff here.
And that's right. And it doesn't matter. We're still seeing that, well, he's got this many weapons, this, that, the third. Okay.
Who cares?
What are we doing here?
Were Chiefs fans saying, oh, he has Hill and he has
exactly.
Kelsey? No. Who cares?
You can't. That's right. And he's playing really well with it.
Matt Ryan had Julio.
We could have the conversation if you had these guys and you weren't playing well, but he is. So I don't understand.
Why do you think Derek Carr's gone?
So maybe it's the line of, well, he should be playing well. And I have said that about Jimmy Garoppolo before. Right. I'll be honest.
But he was playing well this year.
Yeah, and he was. But Brock Purdy, what he's doing I still think what he's doing, you still have to separate that from the fact that he has these weapons, because he's doing. Did Debo help Brock Purdy evade those sacks? Did Debo help him shimmy? Did Debo help him be shifty and moonwalk? Did McCaffrey help him do it? No, he's doing that in the backfield by himself.
It's this simple. Does anyone help Brock Purdy throw the football? No. You can scheme guys open. Shanahan does that.
Right.
Receivers catch. Running backs run. He has to get the ball to him still.
Right.
And he's making elite throws. Yeah, you drop in the back of the end zone elite. Kittle's catches. He has 7 touchdowns. Brock Purdy is quarterback.
Yeah.
Like that. Jimmy ain't doing that stuff.
Right.
Elite quarterbacks like George Kittle with Brock Purdy has 7 touchdowns this year. Yeah. Travis Kelce has 11 touchdowns. Like Purdy is the difference maker here.
That's right. All right, so we're trying to get to these calls. We're up against it, but real quick, let's get out to Will in Berkeley. Let's try to run through them. Will, you got to be nice to your neighbor because we got a lot of them lined up. We're trying to get them in. Let's go 30 seconds if you got it or less.
Niners.
That's right.
We're watching a Cinderella story in real time, guys. I mean, I think that's why it's hard for fans to really see what's happening, because we're really watching something magical. And I think a lot of us have PTSD from the, Kaepernick day when we almost got there. We almost got to the Super Bowl, or we almost won the Super Bowl with Garoppolo. And I think
Thanks for the call, Will. Thanks for the call. And I look, that's right. And that's the way to end it. We got to get out of here real quick. Sterling, you're overtime overachiever.
Well, it's Debo Samuel.
It's Debo.
He had like 162
yeah, it was
yards,
ridiculous.
Big touchdown today. He was
right.
Like his physicality, the way he snapped and flipped that switch, that was a difference today.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I got Brock Purdy. Might be a surprise for some people, but I got Brock Purdy. Let's keep rolling here. Let's go to John, who is also coming back from Niners. Sterling said we're going to keep going, so we're going to keep going.
We got time.
Let's go to John, who's coming back from the game. What's up, John? You're on overtime. Look, Sterling makes the rules. I just listened to him.
Hey, guys, I'm heading back from the game. My voice is pretty hoarse. I'm one of the thousands of people you heard every time I was on defense, especially on third down, yelling my lungs out. But what we saw from Purdy was just short of a masterpiece, minus a couple throws. That one he threw to Ayuk when he scrambled around reminded me of Mahomes. He's making Mahomes-type plays, guys. And this guy's special, and he's going to be here for a long time. Sorry, Trey Lance. Give me Brad Pine next year. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for the call, John. And it is pretty crazy that the best highlight from Brock Purdy didn't even end up in a touchdown. We saw something that, like I said, it reminded me of Kyler Murray. You know, John just said Patrick Mahomes. That is elite stuff. And that was a dime. And Ayuk was on the sideline laying on the bench, and the game was already over.
Yeah.
But the fact that he just felt bad because he knew that thing would have been just a game breaker because he knew what Brock Purdy did. So, you know, what he is doing, you can't, that is the example right there. You can't say system QB and show somebody that Brock Purdy play. You can't.
Would that have been Ayuk's first postseason touchdown? I can't remember. It may have been. I don't know, whatever. But yes, like Brock Purdy, people can say all these names, Mahomes, but look, this is a Cinderella story. And I think that's why some fans, like, I had to see all these things for me to believe. Right? And I'm that.
We all were, and it's fair, yeah.
But it's like, and that's why every game, it's like, when's it going to come down to earth? Like, when is it all going to fall apart? We've seen it so many times, 2019, 2013. Like, I've been alive for 26 years, going on 27. I've seen this team lose heartbreak after heartbreak, 2 Super Bowls. I've seen it happen. It sucks. And so you wonder in the back of your head, this is Niners, this is post-Steve Young, post-Montana. Well, now we're in the presence of Brock Purdy. Maybe it's different now.
Right. Maybe. All right. Let's get out to Reggie and Vallejo, our last call of the evening. Reggie wants to talk about, we're calling it the and one play at this point. Niners, the Ayuk pass, or the pass from Brock Purdy to Ayuk that wasn't a touchdown, but boy, was it something special. What's up, Reggie? You're on overtime with Allen and Sterling.
Beautiful to escape in the throw. God.
It was crazy, man.
Hey, but most definitely, I thank Abram for pissing Debo off. Because Debo did his thing. Shout out to my boy C-Mac for that 119. It was just a lovely day. I'm grateful.
Yeah, I think that's a great way. That's a great way to put it, Reggie, and that's a great way to end it. You know, a lot of fans out there. It's a
great day.
You held an L if you're Seattle, or your team's done, and you get to roast them and say, "What time does your team play?" Next time they have something negative to say, and that's what really this is all about. Doesn't matter what time. Doesn't matter if you're this guy, that guy. Ultimately, we are on a ride. You know, what is it? Marine. It's not called Marine World anymore, but Marine World,
Six Flags?
Medusa. I personally like Kong as well. Whatever ride was your favorite at Six Flags, that's what we're on. So just enjoy it.
Yeah.
Maybe you like the old school wooden one. And I personally, it hurt my back a little bit.
Roar is great.
Roar,
It's a
whatever
great
it
ride.
was. But whatever it is, just enjoy it. Because the Niners are rolling right now, and they put the NFC, and I'd even say the NFL, on notice. Thank you for listening. For Cam Williams, for Sterling Bennett, I'm Alan Stiles. We'll talk to you next week because the Niners got the W. That was overtime. 95-7 The Game.
If you want to save money and start the year right, Staples has you covered.
I need everything to restock my business. File folders, break room supplies, even business cards.
Staples has you covered with big savings on everything you need for your home or office. And now at Staples, Rewards members get $30 back via Staples Store Bonus when they spend $100. That's $30 to use toward everything from ink to tech. Save big right now at Staples, the working and learning store. Rewards members only. Store bonus redeemable in-store only. Offer ends 1/21. Get back to business and start the year strong with an HP printer from Staples. Like the HP LaserJet MFP M234 SDWE printer. This compact multifunction printer features blazing fast print speeds. It's the fastest two-sided printer in its class. Plus, with the HP Smart app, you can print, scan, and copy from anywhere. And Staples has the best deals on a full range of HP printers. Right now, save up to $100 on the HP LaserJet. But hurry, this offer is good this week only. Offer good in-store and online. Ends 1/14.
I bet you folks are glad to be done with your shopping. Hopefully, all your gifts went well. But there's one last store to visit, this time just for yourself. Your chance to get one of the top-rated Samsung, LG, or Sony TVs at a crazy low price. Where? At Video Only's year-end clearance sale. A great way to end the year. If you don't check out these deals at Video Only, you'll be sorry.
Shop limited-time deals at the Truckload event at Lowe's, happening now. Save big on your favorites across the store. During this event, get up to 50% off select tools and accessories. Plus, find the perfect floor tile for your home for less. Get up to 50% off select styles while you can. Head to your local Lowe's store or visit Lowes.com to shop the Truckload event today. Valid 12/29 through 1/25 while supplies last. Selection varies by location. See Lowes.com for details. Discount taken at time of purchase.
On the podcast, Hey Dude, the 90s Called, David Lasher and Christine Taylor, stars of the cult classic show Hey Dude, bring you back to the days of slip dresses and choker necklaces.
We're going to use Hey Dude as our jumping off point, but we are going to unpack and dive back into the decade of the 90s.
We lived it, and now we're calling on all of our friends to come back and relive it.
So leave a code on your best friend's beeper, because you'll want to be there when the nostalgia starts flowing. Listen to Hey Dude, the 90s Called, wherever you get your podcasts.
If you own a business, this has been a bumpy ride. From pandemic to inflation, I'm sure you could use a break. If your business has 5 or more employees and survived COVID, you might be eligible to receive a payroll tax refund of up to $26,000 per employee. The challenge is getting your hands on it. Hi, I'm Howard Mackler, and that's why I founded GetRefunds.com to cut through the red tape and get you the money. The team of tax attorneys we have put together are highly trained in this little-known payroll tax refund program. We do all the work, charge not a dime up front, and simply share a percentage of the cash that we get for you. Businesses of all types can qualify, including those that took PPP, nonprofits, and even those that had increases in sales. We have helped return over $1 billion to businesses, and we can help you too. Just go to getrefunds.com/sports, click on Qualify Me, and answer a few questions. This payroll tax refund is only available for a limited period of time. Don't lose out on up to $26,000.